Andrew lived a quiet, unassuming life in his city apartment, a small bubble of routine and predictable comfort. The room next door had been vacant for months, a silent testament to the transient nature of city living. Andrew rarely gave it a second thought until one crisp autumn afternoon when a moving van rumbled outside and a woman, seemingly in her early 40s, began to unpack. Her name was Mrs. Eleanor Vance, though she insisted Andrew call her Eleanor. Over the next few weeks, Eleanor became a familiar, if somewhat peculiar presence. She'd often knock on Andrew's door, a polite smile on her face, asking for small favors. Sometimes it was a cup of sugar she'd run out of, other times a loaf of bread, or even just someone to chat with for a few minutes while her internet was down. Andrew, naturally helpful and somewhat drawn to her slightly eccentric charm, always obliged. He found their conversation surprisingly engaging. Eleanor had a sharp wit and spoke of life with an intriguing blend of cynicism and profound wisdom. A good relationship blossomed between the two neighbors, built on these small exchanges and shared moments. One evening, after Andrew had helped her fix a faulty light fixture, Eleanor invited him for dinner. "It's the least I can do, Andrew," she said, her eyes twinkling. "A home-cooked meal, just for us." Andrew, feeling a warmth that contradicted his usual solitary evenings, readily accepted. Dinner was pleasant, a rich aroma of herbs and spices filling the air. Eleanor was a delightful hostess, her stories captivating, her laughter infectious. Andrew ate heartily, enjoying the unusual company. As the meal wound down, a heavy drowsiness began to settle over him. His eyelids grew impossibly heavy, his thoughts foggy. Eleanor leaned closer, her eyes piercing. "Andrew, put some pressure on your mind?" she urged softly. "Think. As if in your childhood you used to wear women's clothes, used to dress yourself like a woman and play. Am I wrong?" Andrew's breath hitched. A forgotten memory, buried deep under layers of societal expectation and self-denial, surfaced. Whispers of a little boy, secretly trying on his mother's dresses, delighting in the feel of silk, the swish of skirts. A blush crept up his neck, even in his terrified state. "No," he admitted, his voice barely audible. "You're right. You wanted to become a beautiful woman, Andrew," Eleanor stated, her voice resonating with conviction. "And today, I will make you a woman. I will give you the form of a complete woman." Before Andrew could process her words, a mask was placed over his face. The sweet, cloying scent again. His last thought was of a childhood dream, half remembered, half suppressed, before the darkness claimed him. When Andrew opened her eyes again, the world was different. Not just the room, but she was different. Days, perhaps weeks, had passed. The transformation was complete, profound. Replaced by the soft, flowing contours of a woman. Worked wonders, softening her jawline, refining her features, transforming her face into that of a truly beautiful woman. Her voice too had changed, now higher, more melodic. Andrew the man was gone. She was now unequivocally a woman. Her new life had begun. Weeks turned into months. Now, she stood on the balcony of her apartment, a sleeveless silk short nightie caressing her new form. The cool evening breeze played with the strands of her now longer, softer hair. She looked out at the city lights, her heart swelling with an emotion she hadn't known possible. It felt surreal, like a dream she hadn't dared to dream. Just a few months ago, she was a boy, living a life of quiet resignation. Today, she was a woman, vibrant and beautiful. Her life had changed irrevocably. When she walked down the street, heads turned, not in confusion or pity but in admiration. She had started a new business, one that flourished, drawing in clients with her newfound confidence and captivating presence. People responded to her, drawn to her charisma and beauty. A faint smile touched her lips. She was living happily, a joy she'd never truly experienced as Andrew. In her heart, a strange, profound gratitude bloomed for the woman who had saved his life. Eleanor Vance had vanished from the apartment next door as mysteriously as she had arrived. Andrew didn't know where she had gone, but it no longer mattered. The new life, the new form, the profound happiness and satisfaction she felt in fulfilling a wish she hadn't even consciously realized she possessed, it was all thanks to Eleanor. She was enjoying her new form, embracing every ripple and curve, every glance and compliment. She was finally and truly herself.